Good morning, children, and welcome back. I hope all of you are fine and healthy and staying indoors in your house. So, this is in continuation to our previous class where we met on the Zoom meeting. So, today I thought the meeting face to face was not required, and hence I'm recording this class, and this will reach you by another 1 hour maybe. So we will take up the exercise 1.2 today and try to solve the problems there. Those problems are going to be a quick recall of all the operations that we do on large numbers. And at some places, we'll be using the conversions that I have mentioned in the previous video. I hope you are good at converting between the various metric units in distance, capacity, and the weight. Otherwise, you have to see that you learn the conversions by heart so that you are able to convert from one unit to another. So maybe we will have another quiz on the metric systems itself. Maybe this weekend I will try to do that. But with respect to the previous quiz, which I had left with you for the last week, I have the reports of your activities and the performance, which I thought I will share with you. I am not sure why all of you could not attend the quiz. Maybe the time given was not enough, or something else which has troubled you that you could not complete it. So I am going to keep the same quiz open again till 6 in the evening today. All right. So after that, I will share the answers of the quiz also with you. So that you can go through, because I did not see a necessity of doing the discussion once again with you. In case it is required and you have some doubts in any of the questions, you can always get back to me in the group. Now I'll just show you how your report on the quiz has come to me. I'll just share it with you so that you know what is reaching me also. Now, can you see the screen where I have displayed the report of how you have done in the quiz? You might have got your scores in the quiz, but see, this is the way I shall be getting it. Right? So, based on your scores and on how many attempts you have done it, your marking line will be given like this. That means the ranking is given, and this is how it has come to me. I have only 44 of you who have appeared for the quiz. And most of you have done well. I am happy because the place value has been clear for you. You were able to do the questions on both the standard form and the expanded form. You were able to identify the places of numbers, etc. But still, I'm not very happy as to why all of you could not take up the quiz. That's why I'm giving you one more chance for those who have not completed the quiz to go ahead and complete it. And for those who have already done also, if you think you have now realized your mistakes and you will be able to do it better, you can always take it up again. Now, but this time you will take it only as one attempt. Do not take more than one attempt, all right? Though I am keeping the number of attempts open, the request is that you don't attend more than once. Let us see, because you have already done it once, now you should be able to do better. So this is open for all of you. If you think you want to improve your scores, and this time you know that the mistakes you have done previously you will not be repeating, you can go ahead and attend the quiz once again. And put only the same name every time. Don't try to change your names by changing your initial or trying to avoid the initial. All that comes to me. So you cannot think that I will not know. Any number of times you do, with whatever names you do, it is coming to me. All right. So just be a little more honest and proactive about preparing for the quiz and then attempting that. All right. It is simple. You prepare well, you score well. This is not a guessing game that we are doing. We do it with some commitment. Okay. So with that, I will close this window now. So I have come back. So we will start with our exercise 1.2. I'll try to do most of the problems where I think you may require my help. The remaining that I have skipped, you can try it on your own later on. All right. So what I'm doing now here will be written down in your classwork and your notes will be up to date. So I don't want any more doubts in this. Please see that whatever I do in the video and I try to teach you is copied down in your classwork and maintained as notes. Is that clear? So with that note, I think I'll go back to the board where we will start working exercise 1.2. You can have your textbooks with you because I'll be reading the problem and then telling you how to solve also. So we will start. So I hope the board is visible to you. Now we will start with the first problem in exercise 1.2. So I have my textbooks with you. I hope you also have your textbooks. And as I am reading, you should be able to follow the textbook. Those who don't have the textbook, I think I have already shared the link of the textbook in the PDF form. Please try to get a printout of that, or at least borrow an old textbook from your friends. So here we go with the first problem. A book exhibition was held for 4 days in a school. The number of tickets sold at the counter on the first, second, third and the final day was respectively 1094, 1812, 2050 and 2751. Find the total number of tickets sold on all the 4 days. So there are sales which are going on for 4 days. And each day how many books are sold is given to us. What we have to find is the total number of books sold on all the 4 days. So how do you represent this problem in steps? So this is my exercise 1.2, which is on page number 16 for you. So this is how you will write it down in your notes. So the first problem is what I am doing, right? A book exhibition was held for 4 days in the school. So the number of tickets at the counter on the first day. So number of tickets sold. Number of tickets sold on first day. It is given to be 1094. So I write it according to its place values like this. The ones, tens, hundreds, and then the thousand. On the second day, again the sale at the counter was, there were 1812 tickets sold. Do you see the way in which I am writing? I am arranging the numbers or the tickets sold on day 1, day 2, etc. in such a way that they fall one below another according to their places. So this is the ones place, this is the tens, this is the hundreds, and this is the thousands. Then going on to the third day, here the sale of tickets was 2050. So if you write it down neatly like this, addition will be easy. And then the last day, that is the fourth day, the sale was 2751. So this is how the sales were happening for the first, second, third and the fourth day. Now I want, what is asked? Find the total number of tickets sold. So when I want the total number of tickets sold, what should I do? I should add all these 4 numbers. That is the number of tickets sold on day 1, day 2, day 3 and day 4 to get total number of tickets sold. So total number of tickets sold on all 4 days. So this is equal to the summation of all these 4 numbers. So I know I want to do the summation, so I put the plus mark there. Now I'll start adding. As I have already told you, the addition, subtraction or the multiplication, division. When you start doing, you must be very careful with their place values. So addition, I start from the ones place first. So 4 plus 2, 6 plus 1, 7. Here you have 9 plus 1, 10, 15, 20. And you carry over a 2. So you have 8 plus 2, 10, 10 plus 7, 17. Then you carry over 1. Then you have 1 plus 1, 2, plus 1, 3, plus 2, 5, plus 2, 7. So this is the number of tickets sold on all the 4 days together. So how will you read this number? You have 7 in the ones, 0 in the tens, 7 in the hundreds, and 7 in the thousands place. So this number will be read as, good, it will be read as 7,707. So you will write your answer as total books sold on all 4 days is 7,707. So this is how you complete the problem. So take down quickly in case you are not able to do it in the speed that I am doing. Because it is a recording I am sending it to you. You can pause it and replay whenever you want. Alright. So complete it quickly. I'll just give you 2-3 seconds to complete that. Otherwise, as I've already told you, you can always come back to it as you pause it. Now the next one that I'm taking is the second problem. Or I'll take the third problem. Second one, I think it's simple. You should be able to try. So I'll take down the third one now. Okay, the third one goes like this. In an election, the successful candidate registered, I think you can read the number, the commas are already marked. This is in the Indian system. So it is 5,77,500 votes. And his nearest rival secured 3,48,700 votes. By what margin did the successful candidate win the election? Now you would have heard of these elections. It happened very recently also in our state. So you know when candidates are in a fray in an election, who is that who wins? The person or the candidate who wins is the one who has secured the maximum number of votes. Now here also there are two candidates whose vote counts are given to us. Now the question is, by how much margin did the person who got more votes win the election? Like we had our school election, how did we decide who wins the election? It is based on the number of votes they get. Now when I want to compare between two candidates, if X gets 100 votes and Y gets only 70 votes, we know clearly that X has won the election because he has got more number of votes. And Y has lost the election because he got less number of votes. Now, if the question is how many votes more did the X get than Y, that he won the election. Here, what should you do? Yes, you have to subtract the number of votes to tell what is the margin. Margin means something extra. So the candidate who wins will always have the margin. Margin means extra. So how will you find that extra votes that he has won? By the subtraction. So now we can take up the problem. An election, the successful candidate. So number of votes secured. So I'll write number of votes. Number of votes secured by. Who are the two? One is the winning candidate, other one is the rival. So I will say the winning candidate I will write first. Winning candidate. So the winning candidate, how many votes did he get? He has got 5,77,000. So write it according to its place like 5,77,500. Now this is in the Indian system, right? Because it is marked in commas like that. So it is 5,77,500. Now the rival candidate. Rival is the one who is standing against or who is fighting with the other candidate. So the rival candidate has won how many votes? 3,48,700. He has won so many votes. Now, what is the margin? The question is, by what margin did the successful candidate win the election? So the margin of votes, margin on the extra, margin of votes will be obtained by subtracting these two numbers. So you put the subtraction symbol there. Now we must start subtracting. So we must be careful when we start subtracting. If there is a larger number which you have to subtract from a smaller number, you first have to see that if the borrowing is required. So I'll start from the ones place. This is 0. Again, tens also it is 0. Now you can't subtract the 7 from 5. It's a smaller number. So this is where the borrowing will happen. So I borrow this and I make it 6. This has become 15. So my 15 minus 7. How much will that be? Yes, it will be an 8. Now again you have 8 which has to be subtracted from 6, which cannot happen. So again I borrow. This becomes 6 and this becomes 16. My 16 minus 8 will be an 8. Then 6 minus 4 will be a 2. 5 minus 3 will be a. Now you should be able to read this number. So again it is in the Indian system according to the commas. So it will be 2,28,800. So now that you have done the quiz many times, you should be able to read the numbers clearly in their Indian or the Western system. So how will you write your answer? Answer is very easy. What is the question? Just read it. You will be able to write the answer. By what margin did the successful candidate win the election? So the successful candidate won the election by a margin of 2,28,800. So this is how you report the answer. So you can take down. I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes and I'll start with the next problem. Okay, so we will next take up the 5th problem. I'm skipping a few problems because they are very similar. We can't do all the problems in the class. The ones that I skip, you can try on your own in your phone, and you can write it down in some rough notes and keep it with you. Now, where I'm going is the 5th problem. Yes, this is problem number 5. So let me read it. Find the difference between the greatest and the least number that can be written using the digits 6, 2, 7, 4 and 3, each only once. So you have these digits given to you, 6, 2, 7, 4 and 3. So because there are only 5 digits given and none of them can be used more than once, the biggest number that you can make with them is a 5-digit number. Now, how you create the largest and the smallest number using this digits given to you, as I think we have discussed already in the previous videos. Now you have to arrange these digits in the descending order to get the biggest number or the largest number. Greatest number, it is the greatest and the least. Okay, let's start with the greatest number. The greatest number that you will be framing will be to write these digits in the descending order. So find out which is the largest digit here. It is 7. So 7 is done. Then you have 6. Then you have 4. Then you have 3 and then 2. Alright. So this is how the number, a 5-digit number in the greatest manner using these digits. We have put the digits in the descending order. So how do you read this number in the Indian system? I put the comma. Read it now. It will be 76,432. Then the next one that you have to make is the least number. So the least number, how do I get? By arranging the digits in the ascending order or the increasing order. So start with 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7. So this is the least number. Now is it that I stop here? No. The question is find the difference between these two numbers. So how do I find the difference between these two numbers? I have to subtract them. So let me go and subtract. So let me start with the subtraction. I put the subtraction symbol here and start subtracting. So again you have a problem there because you can't subtract 7 from 2. I need to borrow. This becomes 2. This will become a 12. 12 minus 7 will become a 5. Correct? Now again you have another way where you are not able to subtract. So again borrow. This becomes 3. This will become 12. 12 minus 6 will become 6. Again 4 is greater than 3. Cannot subtract. Borrow. 13 minus 4. That will become a 9. Then you have 5 minus 3 which will be a 2. Then 7 minus 5, 2, which will be a 5. Now put the comma in the Indian system. You should be able to read the number now. It will be 52,965. So this is how you find the difference between the two numbers that you have created. That is the greatest number and the least number. So take down quickly. Now next we will move on to the problems on conversions. We have seen the metric system of conversions for the distance, the weight and the capacity. So the basic units I have given the conversion and I have given you the entire conversion table also. Now you should be able to use that and complete the problems. So let us see how we can complete these problems. So there are 4 problems where we are going to discuss on the conversion. Let us do it one after another. So this is problem number 9. I am on problem number 9. So let me read the problem first. To stitch a shirt, 2 meters and 15 centimeter cloth is needed. Out of 40 meters cloth, how many shirts can be stitched and how much cloth will remain? So my question now is how many shirts can be stitched from 40 meters of cloth, and for one shirt the measurement of cloth which is required is given as 2 meters and 15 centimeters. So let us see what we have as information. So because this is the 9th problem that I am doing, let me mark it. Length of cloth required for one shirt. So for one shirt, if I require to stitch one shirt, I need 2 meters and 15 centimeters of cloth. So this much I want. But what I have is a 40 meters cloth. So 40 meters is available with me. If I have to stitch one shirt, I will require 2 meters and 15 centimeters of cloth. Now what is the conversion between centimeter and meter? I know 100 centimeters becomes equal to 1 meter. That means if I take 100 centimeters together, it becomes equal to 1 meter. Correct? So here I have 2 meters and a 15 centimeters. So how will I convert this completely only as centimeters? Because if I have 2 units, then it becomes difficult to do any operation on them. So always when we are doing addition, subtraction, multiplication or division on a certain unit or a certain measurement, we always keep it in a single unit. Though they are expressed in 2 units, 2 meters and 15 centimeters is there. So now I have to convert it completely into centimeters because 2 meters is completely there and then a 15 centimeters is also there. So you want 2 meters completely and a 15 centimeter together to stitch one shirt. So when I want to convert this only into centimeters, because I know 100 centimeters is 1 meter. Or if I have 1 meter of cloth, it is like having 100 centimeters of cloth. So if I have 2 meters cloth, how many centimeter will I have? 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So 2 meter will be 200 centimeter. So can I write this as 200 centimeter plus a 15 centimeter. This is the cloth required for one shirt, right? So I am converting it into only centimeters, right? So that becomes what? That is becoming equal to 215 centimeters. So this unit of 2 meters and 15 centimeters, now I have converted as a single unit, that is only centimeters, as I have done here. Now the cloth available, it is said out of 40 meter cloth. So cloth available, I can say, is 40 meters. Again, I have to look at the conversion. I have 40 meters of cloth with me. So actually, how many centimeters it is equal to? If I have 1 meter, it is 100 centimeters. So if I have 40 meters, it is 40 into 100 centimeters. Do you understand the conversion? If there is only 1 meter, it is 100 centimeters. Now I have 40 such meters. So it is 100 plus 100 plus 100. Counted how many times? 40 times. Or I can say 40 times 100. Those many centimeters of cloth is there with me. So 40 into 100, the multiplication is easy because multiplication involving zeros, I simply have to put 3 zeros following 4. So I have 400 centimeters of cloth with me. Correct? Now the question is, how many shirts can I stitch using this 400 centimeters of cloth? If I want one shirt, 215 centimeters is required. If I want dash number of shirts from 40 meters, I have to find out how many shirts I can stitch. So let me now think how many 215s are there in 4000. Because every time you remove 215 from 4000, one shirt is ready. So again you remove 215 centimeters from 4000, the second shirt will be ready. So you have to keep on removing 215 from 4000. So what do you call that successive subtraction as? It is nothing but division. So what I am going to write, number of shirts that can be stitched will be equal to 4000 divided by 215. Correct? I am going to see how many 215s are there in 4000. So now I have to do the division. So I will come back to this side of the board where I shall show you how the division is done. By now you should be able to complete the division. So let us take up the division now. It is the 4000 divided with 215. So I take the first 3 digits here. That is how the division is done. I hope you know all this. So how many 215s are there in 400? It can be only 1. Because 2 times it becomes 430. I have only 400 here. So when I subtract this, what should I get? Again subtraction, the borrowing will be there. Here it will become 3, here it will become 9, and this will become 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 1 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So now the 0 will come down. Now you have to see how many 215s are there in 1850. Approximately, maybe it may go 8 times. Let me try if it is a smaller number. 8 5s are 40. I carry 4. 8 1s are 8 plus 4, 12. Carry 1, 8 2s are 16 plus 1, 17. So maybe the 9 times will be more than 1850. So when I subtract, I am going to get 130. Alright. So 130, I can't prepare a shirt because to make one shirt I require 215 centimeters. This 130 is less than 250. So what will I do? I'll tell this is the extra cloth with me. So now how will I go about? After the division is over, you have to say therefore number of shirts equals, you can make 18 complete shirts. Alright, after the 18 shirts are stitched, there is some cloth which is remaining. The question is even this. Find how much, no, what is it? How many shirts can be stitched and how much cloth will remain? So, cloth remaining I will write as 130 centimeters. Correct? I will write this as 130 centimeters because after 18 shirts are done, this is what is left over. With this, can I stitch another shirt? No, because I need 215 centimeters to stitch one shirt. Now I have 130 which is less than 215. So this cannot be used to make the shirt. So that is why this is the remaining cloth. Alright, it is the remaining cloth which will be used to make, which will be remaining after the stitching is over. So this 130 centimeters, again I can write it in terms of meter and centimeter. Like I had 215 centimeters is 2 meter and 15 centimeter. Here also I can convert it back as meter and centimeter because I can write this as 100 plus 30. Correct? Now 100 centimeters will be 1 meter. This will become 1 meter. After 1 meter is removed, how much is there? At 30 centimeters. So this is how you convert. So I write the 130 centimeter as 1 meter and 30 centimeter. I hope the problem is clear. There are 2-3 things that we are doing. Initially, the conversion is done from meters to centimeters, and all, that is the cloth required to stitch the shirt as well as the total cloth available, everything was converted into a single unit, which is centimeter. The division was done. After the division is complete, some amount of cloth is remaining, and that cloth remaining is being again converted back as meter and centimeter. Alright, so this is how the problem is completed. We will take up one more problem. Okay, we will take up the 10th problem. So I hope you have written this down. So I'll clear the board quickly so that I can do the 10th problem. Okay, this is the 10th problem that we are taking up. We will do this and stop. The remaining, I think you should be able to try on your own. We will quickly do this problem. Medicine is packed in boxes, each weighing 4 kgs and 500 grams. How many such boxes can be loaded in a van which cannot carry beyond 800 kgs of medicine? So we are going to put medicine in small boxes and we are going to load it in a truck. Alright, now the question is, how many boxes can be loaded in the van so that we know that a van cannot carry more than 800 kilograms of the medicine. So we will try to first write down what is given to us. So we have packets or medicine is packed in boxes. Weight of one box of medicine. So weight of one box of medicine is given as 4 kg and 500 grams. So if I have to put one box inside the van, the weight which will be equal to 4 kg and 500 grams. Again, you have 2 different units in which the weight is expressed. We know the conversion between the kg. 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. This is the conversion we know from our conversion table. So if I have 1000 grams, it means it is 1 kg. Or if I have 1 kg, it means it is 1000 grams. Now what I will do, I will try to convert the 4 kg as grams. So if I have 1 kg, it is 1000 grams. So 4 kg means it will be 4000 grams. And then you have a 500 gram also because it is 4 kg and 500 grams. So in all you have 4500 grams. These many grams of medicine is there in one box. So if I take one box and put it in the van, it means I am putting 4500 grams of medicine in the van. So the weight which the van can carry. So weight carried by the van. So the van can maximum take 800 kilograms of medicine. So more than 800 the van will not carry. So again this is in kilogram. We have the medicine, the weight in grams. So we have to convert this also into grams. I know if I have 1 kg, it is 1000 grams. Now I have 800 kg. That means I have 1000 multiplied with 800. Do you understand the conversion? If I have 1 kg, it is like telling 1000 grams. Now you have 800 kg. means 800 times 1000. So the multiplication again involves zeros. So it's easy. 8 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So those many grams. The kilogram is converted into grams. Now, if I have 4,500 grams, it means it is one box. So for every box that you load, you are adding the 4,500 grams. Now you have to see how many such boxes can be put in the van. So I have to successively keep from this number. Now read this number in the Indian system. It is 8 lakh grams. Alright. So every time one box is loaded, you have to remove that 4,500 from the 8 lakhs. So keep on removing 4,500, 4,500 and see how many box can be dumped when all the 8 lakh grams is exhausted. So what I have to do is the division, because successively you are subtracting the 4,500 from 8 lakhs. I have to divide this 8 lakhs with 4,500. So this is how I am seeing it. Alright. So when I want this 8 lakhs divided by 4,500, either directly I can divide it, or because there are zeros, I can divide both of them with 100 first, and then I can say 8,000 divided by 45. Any way you find it easy, you can do. Otherwise, later on the zeros can be added in the quotient also. So I'll just do it this way. If you think you can look at the division like this. You know, both of them can be divided with 100. The zeros will go. So actually, you will be dividing 8,000 with 45. Anyway, you can see it. Alright. If you think this is easy, you follow this. Otherwise, follow this. I give it to you. Now I'm just doing it like this. But I have a 4,500 which has to be divided with. No, you have to divide 8 lakhs with 4,500. So let us see how many boxes can be packed like this. So first I will take the first 4 digits. It will go only one time because 4,500 two times will become 9,000. So only once I will write. Then I subtract. Here again it becomes 7 and this becomes 10. 7 minus 4 is 3. So next I bring down one more digit here, that is 0. Then I think it may go as 7 times. Let me see, multiply and see. 7 zeros are 0, 7 zeros are 0, 7 fives are 35, carry 3. 7 fours are 28, plus 3 will be 31. So again I subtract. I get a 0, 0, it is a 5, it is a 3. So 3, 5, I get it like this. Then one more 0 is there. Then I think again I will have it as some 7 times maybe, because it is giving me a 31,500. So 7. So when I subtract again, I am going to get 3500. So what happened? I have a remainder of 3,500. So that means another box cannot be put because I have 3,500 only remaining, the weight which can be loaded in the van. A van with 8 lakh gram capacity can now be loaded with 177 boxes when they are loaded. We have almost used the capacity for one box. If I put one box, it will weigh 4,500. Now what is remaining is 3,500. So I cannot load this box again. So maximum I can load is 177 boxes. And this weight will remain free in the van. Because it is less than 4,500, I can't put the next box, which will become the 178 box, which will not be possible. So what should I do? I will now write. The answer is how many boxes can be loaded? There can be 177 boxes loaded in the van. You understand? You must not get ಇನ್ನು 3500 ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ ಇದೆ. Then why ma'am is not putting one more box? One box, when you are going to load one box, it should have a weight of 4500 remaining. But now only 3500, because after 177 box, you cannot load it. Alright. So we know that this is the number of boxes which can be loaded in the van. So complete all these problems in your classwork and get ready for our next class. Any doubts, you can always get back to me in the group. So bye for now. Just go through the recording and complete your notes.